As cell phones became more prevalent, many districts' initial policy was to ban them from school grounds. In 2006, then New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg famously banned cell phones from all New York City public schools. While the ban was in effect, students often still carried their phones to school, but were forced to store them at a nearby bodega or a van parked just off school grounds for up to $1 a day. Nearly a decade later, Mayor de Blasio lifted the cell phone ban, citing it created more issues than it was designed to alleviate. Here are some student thoughts on the cell phone ban at Global Learning Collaborative High School in 2012, while the ban was still in place.
Today we asked the students, do they feel that they should electronics be allowed in the school building? Why or why not? What's your name? Jaden. J-A-D-E-N. And how do you feel about the ban on cell phones?
Horrible.
Yeah, it sucks.
I get it that they don't want kids texting and making phone calls and listening to music and all of that in class. But I think that not every kid can afford to pay $1 every day.
You might want to contact your parents and stuff like that. Or if people don't want to have to spend $1 every day, at least hold the phones, like an office or something like that.
Do you think the policy on ban in electronics in school is fair?
No.
Why?
Because you have an emergency, you need to call your parents.
I do understand the safety reasons for wanting to have cell phones in class, but students should have the responsibility, and there should be consequences if they are out during class.
You got an emergency, you won't be able to talk to your mom or...
For emergencies and stuff, I got my phone taken away because my mom thought I wasn't using it anymore because school phones are banned in school, but I really do need it to call friends or when I'm lost. I really do need it, but now I don't have a phone.
Well, school should at least hold it or so the kids can have their phones, because I know some kids might need their phones, but they can't bring it because they can't afford it.
Cell phone bans don't work because cell phones are everywhere. They are a reality of our daily lives. According to a 2017 Pew report, 92% of individuals between the ages of 18 and 29 owned a smartphone. The other 8% own cell phones of some kind. Furthermore, according to a 2015 Pew report, 8 out of 10 high schoolers own a smartphone. Finally, according to a 2010 Pew report, 65% of students who attended a high school where cell phones were banned brought them to school anyway. Moreover, 58% of those students actually used them in class. Banning cell phones when they are this prevalent is fighting a losing battle. Cell phone bans also don't work because it's not really that feasible. When cell phones are integrated into our daily lives, fighting their use is nearly impossible. For any school policy to be effective, it has to have support from parents. And many parents do support cell phone bans to prevent distractions in the classroom, but many are not supportive. In a post-9/11, post-Columbine society, parents want to be able to get in touch with their kids. Furthermore, given their ubiquity, is it even feasible to police the issue? Is it worth the energy? What punishment fits the crime of having a cell phone? Do kids deserve to be suspended for having something probably every teacher and administrator has in their pocket or purse and probably uses throughout the day? Do educators want to confiscate phones, putting themselves in a position to be responsible for a device that costs hundreds of dollars? Related to both concepts above, feasibility and ubiquity, consistency in cell phone policy is an issue. Just as bans fail to work without parent support, they also fail to work without the unanimous support of all teachers, staff, and administrators. Because of the difficulty in policing this issue, and probably well-intentioned leniency with the policy, cell phone bans lead to varied applications of the rules. This leads to equity. Cell phone bans are often inequitably enforced. Author and educator Larissa Pahomov writes, "The wide range of policies that exist across state lines, or even within a single district, reveals how privilege, trust, and responsibility are unequally meted out among today's students." For example, current mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, is famous for admitting that while the cell phone ban in public schools was in place, his son brought a phone to school anyway. He simply kept it in his pocket and out of sight. However, his son attended a school without metal detectors, a school with metal detectors, ones that service students living in poorer parts of the city, and those unable to attend a magnet school would not have that luxury. Those students, as mentioned a few slides ago, would then be forced to pay $1 a day for a company nearby to store their phone. This became a $1 million industry, largely profiting off students in lower income neighborhoods and thus students who could least afford the additional cost. Finally, cell phone bans drive up discipline and referral rates. The goal of school is to educate students, not police them. Yes, students can be distracted by phones in class, but students are still better off in class, even if a little distracted, than in a detention room or at home on suspension. To be fair, cell phone bans were probably well-intentioned. There are many downsides to this technology in the classroom that my partner mentioned, such as cheating, cyberbullying, theft, and distractions in the classroom. Though all these issues are certainly prevalent with cell phones, they were prevalent without them too. Cheating, bullying, theft, and a wandering mind have been issues in school buildings since the dawn of education. Cell phones simply provide another avenue to engage in this activity. But you can't address something like cheating or bullying or theft by banning a tool. You alleviate those issues by addressing school culture through things like honor codes and character education. The problem is addressing culture and character are harder and slower to take root, so we often turn to a symptom of the problem and seek a fix for that. Unfortunately, the underlying issue at schools with bullying, theft, and cheating is not cell phones or any other technological device. Banning them will not eliminate those concerns. Schools need to accept the reality of cell phones. Instead of policing them ineffectively, we should be focused on integrating them into the classrooms. Schools that no longer have cell phone bans in place have noticed a drop in referrals, which usually means students are staying in the classrooms where they belong. By embracing and guiding versus prohibiting, we have an opportunity as educators to teach appropriate use of technology, a skill they will need as they graduate and enter the real world. Finally, integrating cell phones supports the nature of ubiquitous learning. We are engaging in the natural curiosity that drives learning with a device that's always on them. We are enabling and modeling for students a way to engage in on-the-spot, real-world, real-time learning that applies directly to their immediate question, concern, or problem. Here is a video that addresses the changes in cell phone policies at Jonesboro High School in Arkansas.
Well, students as young as 7 are carrying cell phones to school, and with more phones in students' pockets, school policies are changing.
So what are the rules now when kids bring their cell phones to school? Region 8's Mallory Jordan is live at Jonesboro High School with the answer. Mallory.
I spoke with many principals today about these, the handheld devices that we just can't live without. And they tell me that they're trying to do their best to adapt technology to help their students the best they can.
It's not going to do us any good to be preparing them for the future if the future is not something we're really looking at.
Jonesboro High School watched the trends of technology to decide how to handle cell phones.
Cell phones have become such an integrated part of society, we needed to progress with that and follow.
JHS's policy is BYOD, bring your own device. Principal Leanne Rainey says it's working.
What we noticed is the first year that we allowed them to have their phones on campus and to use them in the hallways is we had almost a 50% drop in referrals for discipline.
Valley View School District's policy allows for phones, but no distractions.
Before school, at lunch, and then after school. And then whenever we have them in the classroom, the teachers can use them at their discretion.
Valley View High School Principal Roland Popejoy says there is a fine line when using cell phones at school.
The challenge that we have in education is to try to work to utilize and maximize those benefits that exist while also, again, trying to decrease disruptions.
For some teachers, cell phones are a tool.
Looking up research, texting and answers on some different text questions and quiz apps that we use.
It's all about moving forward.
Moving more towards what they're going to be dealing with when they get into the colleges and when they get into real world.
But Popejoy says he knows it will continue to be a challenge as technology progresses.
To harness the potential, but at the same time, not allowing it to disrupt and distract education.
Districts say that there's no escaping cell phones, so by embracing their presence at school, administrators say they're dealing with less disciplinary issues, and the kids are still learning. Live at Jonesboro High School, Mallory Jordan, Region 8 News.
A practical approach to cell phones is to embrace flexibility. By being flexible, each building and each teacher or classroom are able to build a policy that best suits their own needs. At lower levels where cell phone ownership is lower, policies may be more prohibitive than at high school levels. Likewise, some disciplines may not lend themselves to cell phone use as readily as others. Allowing for gray policies gives the control to instructors to best determine the needs of their students. Some complain that the inconsistency will confuse students, but if we think broadly, most high school teachers have different homework, bathroom, retake, extra credit, etc. policies. Students should be able to adjust to the rules of their environment, as we must do in the real world. And, along with any cell phone policy, should be required curriculum to support students in the proper use of technology to help curb any incidents of inappropriate use.